So we discussed ETF right now, and the big buzzword in the world of cryptocurrency at the moment is regulation. When will it come? How will it come? In what form will it come as well? So for starters, let's tell you what Joe Biden is saying. We don't know details of what that order will have, but he is saying that the order will look at the measures to protect consumers, businesses and investors. So what Joe Biden is saying is that in the coming days, there will be a regulation on crypto that comes in, that will be in place in the United States, which will cover a host of issues. Remember, United States, particular states over there do have their own crypto regulation, but there's no world sort of one regulation that goes to everybody. Similarly, European Union has its own regulation. Russia recently got its own regulation out as well and has looked at crypto over there, not just as an asset class, but in certain cases like a commodity as well. So we thought we'll discuss this in a little bit of detail. So joining us now is Prasanna Lohar, Chief Economic Officer of the DCB Bank, founder of the India Blockchain Forum as well. Welcome to CC, Prasanna. Also with us back is Dr. Aruna Sharma, former member of RBI's Digitisation Committee as well. Thank you for joining us again, ma'am. Prasanna, let me begin with you. At the moment, regulation is all that anybody talks about the minute you talk about crypto at the moment. Taxation, well, almost clear. You could be happy about it, not happy about it, but at least there is taxation now. But regulation still in the works. Taking cues from global markets at the moment on what other countries are doing, what do you think should be India's policy or outlook moving forward, especially when you already have heard from the Prime Minister saying that there is need at the moment of a global regulation?
Yeah, I think we need to understand how Indian finance works, right? And we sit on such a great central bank and those many innovations just happening with RBI. We have seen since last so many years, we have a very good, robust financial ecosystem. And it is all around the legally accepted tenders, right? So INRs. And when we talk about globally what China is driving or how Hong Kong is driving or US is driving, Europeans are driving, everybody is looking at the cryptocurrency in a different way. So I go with what our Honorable Finance Minister and PM has said. We should have a global regulation around that. So fundamentally, if you look at our regulations around France, it drives around your KYC, AML, CFT kind of a regulation, which is not available with the crypto, which is a fundamental thing, right? So let's look at how bank operates and what is that bank have done. So bank has a very good, robust regulation which takes care of every customer, safeguards every customer for frauds, any of the things which happens, right? So customer journey starting from onboarding, servicing customers or engaging customer for any of their disputes, everything is available in form of a regulation with RBI, which is not available in form of any of the cryptos. There are 17,000 plus cryptos, or there are mainstream, some of these cryptos. We don't have any clue around that. So that is why it's very, very important. Every government, although they are looking at, but the way we drive centrally with IMF, all these regulations, right? And when we are looking at how blockchain can be utilized for a CBDC kind of a ecosystems, right? So makes sense. We should have a kind of a global regulation around this, around KYC,
yeah,
AML.
Prasanna, nobody is saying we don't need a regulation. Everybody is in fact saying we need it now. We needed it in fact yesterday. Perhaps we needed it before we got into taxes and the rest of it as well. Dr. Aruna has been talking about it very proactively. Ma'am, your thoughts on which way do you think US first will go on this? We understand, I mean, is asset class, and again, I come back to the question of different buckets and defining it in a different forms of asset class also very important. There can't be one way in which one looks at crypto, considering there are so many products in the market.
You are absolutely right. And besides US, I think US regulations will be taking lessons from what is happening across the globe. I would like to highlight about Singapore also, which is considered to be, as on date, very
crypto headquarters of the world,
yes,
one can call them that.
Yes. So how they went about it? They went about Monetary Authority of Singapore when the crypto prices were rising sky high in January. They sort of came up with under consumer protection laws for an informed decision to the consumers. So in the sense, a better, clear information as to the speculative nature or the high and troughs and ridges and everything that happens in the crypto world. Then if you look at it, they went for the Payment Services Act, which take care of the AML and the CFT, what has been talking about, and that is what it made it more user-friendly. Now, when we are talking about how and looking towards the US regulation, it is very important that we look at it from the various dialogues that is happening and the steps that are happening between the government and the statements of the RBIs, which is coming from time to time. So, even though on the face
statements
of it,
from RBI coming, I need another segment for that altogether. We'll talk about that also in a bit, but complete your point, ma'am.
Yeah. So basically, if you look at it, they may sound contradictory, but this is a churning process. And I'm very sure from this, the clarity will come out. So one, whether what you rightly said, crypto as an asset and sub-asset class, when we go about it, some are commodities, some are assets. There was a full-page advertisement, which I'm still wondering with one of the leading film heroes advertising about the entertainment world, right? And there they are using the word crypto very loosely. So that was something very surprising. So these kind of things are also happening. So regulation, the clarity of regulation as early as it comes is very, very important. We cannot wait for US to first evolve and then come up. We have our thought process very clear. So on that, we should keep on coming with the regulations, as clear as that, by defining this. And the ETF will be something like, you have a wealth managers who advise you where to invest, by the leading banks and everything. So something on similar lines, ETF will emerge. So in the sense, you will have more and more people investing in crypto who are fence sitters today.
Right. In fact, ETF is a brilliant way of not really jumping into the market straight away, but just watching out. It's like a mutual fund in a way. And you don't have to be part of the crypto world. You can be just part of, you can pick up an ETF which invests in crypto. But currently, mutual funds aren't doing that in India because we are unclear about what sort of regulation really are.
Because SEBI has said so. So therefore, it is very important, As Singapore has gone ahead step by step, we should allow. You have talked about taxation, which needs fine-tuning, and government has come up with a statement that yes, they will have a relook on the percentage of tax and what is to be taxed. Because we have to, in fact, we have to define VDA also. That is, what is this virtual digital asset? So it has to go with the definition, what comes under taxation, then what are the checks on AML and SIF. So,
absolutely,
so one
all
by
of these
one,
things.
it has to come out. We can't wait for the best of the document. We cannot wait for that.
Yeah. And Dr. Aruna Sharma almost reading our minds on talking about statements over there. So let me bring that graphic up next as well on what the RBI deputy governor said. He said banning cryptocurrency is the most sensible option. That's right. That's what the deputy governor of RBI said some days ago, also saying that cryptocurrencies are akin to Ponzi schemes or may even be worse. In fact, he went on to say that banning cryptocurrency is the most sensible way to move forward. We've seen cryptocurrencies are not amenable to definition as a currency, asset or commodity. In fact, he went ahead to say that as well. And they also say that cryptocurrencies have no underlying cash flow. They have no intrinsic value as well. So I just want to make sense of this. And Prasanna, come in on this. When the government seems to be very progressive towards RBI, no less than the Prime Minister of this country on a world forum has gone ahead to say that there needs to be regulation. And yes, there are pros and cons. We need to sort of take care of interests of the investors, but also flourish. You can't, I mean, in today's world, one can't really keep crypto away. Unless you're China, of course, and then there are different ways to deal with that. But these everyday statements by RBI, I mean, and they continue to come. What do you make of them?
So if you read the overall statement done at RBI, it is not only single statement by saying that slip banning. They have very well narrated the whole journey of a technology, blockchain technology. They have narrated the definition of the cryptocurrencies primarily in their statement, how it can be utilized. They have narrated which are those crypto. They also said that only two cryptos are taking the 61% of the whole crypto industries. Say, if you talk on the mainstream crypto of a Bitcoin, it is being manipulated used by only 100 people. 13% of Bitcoin is owned by that, right? Now, if you compare the whole ecosystem of cryptos along with the financial ecosystem, we all know how well regulated this ecosystem. And in the core statement, they have narrated how it can be done. What is the lacking, right? Say example, it's a private, right? It is not something which is governed by government. And although there are no government controls, and the primary purpose of the cryptos is primarily around is a private, and it is not.
I'm not sure if there are no government controls. I think there is identity, but it is not disclosed. I think that's where crypto is. Yeah, but quickly finish the point. Yeah.
And the way earlier I was talking about the way you have a banking ecosystem, the KYC and a lot of the controls. We have a standardization of PCI DSS, which takes care of the safeguarding your personal information. And all these things where it is defined for a crypto, right? It's nowhere defined, right? Something goes wrong every day for the same customer, where he will go, right? So that is why it's very, very required. And ultimately, somebody, our honorable Prime Minister has announced, there has to be a regulation in the right direction.
So what Prasanna is saying is that this is a push. This is a push for the government to come out with regulation faster.
Absolutely.
But these statements you think encourage the government to come out with regulation faster.
Yeah, absolutely. I think through the budget, the way it is announced, I think things are moving on the faster direction. At the same time, things are moving in a right use cases, like announcement of a digital rupee will give a lot of other use cases which crypto has not given to the country like India.
Right.
So we have to bring some equilibrium. Let's see how it can come. I'll go with what RBI said, but I will go with there will be a lot of many more things or many more announcements will certainly will happen.
All right. Listen to the RBI, listen to the caution, also listen to the finance minister, also listen to the prime minister, and then apply your own brain. As they say, do your own research over here when it comes to crypto. That's all the time we have on the program. Thank you both for joining us.